So, I heard you're looking for a go-to source for entertainment.
Wait for it.
Gaming?
Wait for it.
Anime?
Plus Ultra!
Mr. Eric Almighty and Phil the Filipino? Yeah, they've got you covered. And all you gotta do is... wait for it. This is the Wait For It podcast.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Wait For It podcast. I am your co-host, Phil Barrera, aka Phil the Filipino. And joining me as always is your other co-host, Mr. Eric Almighty. And Eric, I don't see... seems to be something missing for this month's episode of What Did I Miss? There's no guests. Listen, we had a good run. We actually made it basically a year, because the first What Did I Miss in this reincarnation, the 3.0, we started in November of 2023, and we made it to October of 2024 before running into an issue with booking guests. And listen, that was going to happen. I had some people lined up, and they had to back out due to family stuff, which is totally cool. They will be back in 2025. We've already talked about that in the DMs that Eric is not a part of, because it was going to, of course, be a surprise per usual. I did tell him some of the names that I was trying to reach out to this month, so again, they will make reappearances in 2025. But we make it work. We roll with the punches, and here we are with what might be like a little bit of a shortened episode of What Did I Miss? And the wheel will show up a little bit later. Eric doesn't know what I have planned for the wheel, but it's going to be a lot of fun. And Eric, like I said, we ball, right? Here we are.
Yeah, that's the slogan for this episode. Fuck it, guys. We ball. So that's take it or leave it. This is going to be the episode, and we're excited because, Phil, this will give us a chance to go back to our roots. When, if you guys remember, those of you that have followed us for a long time, the first iteration of this was two crazy-ass dudes doing this weekly and running down the week of news. Then we went bi-weekly, then we did monthly in this iteration, which I think has been the right move, but it'll kind of bring us back to our roots, because now we've only thought about, like, we have to talk about one or two stories, they might overlap, we'll have some didn't make the cut. Now we really get to dive in to several of the topics, and we're just going to kind of go back and forth on those topics like we used to, instead of that this person goes, we all talk, etc. Which, again, a format we've enjoyed, but it'll be a nice little change of pace before we jump into the holidays with some familiar faces back on this particular series. So, Phil, I am absolutely excited to get into it, and as always, a lot to talk about from the past month.
Yeah, October was definitely stacked, so we'll see if there is any overlap. I think there were definitely some primary stories that came out over the last couple of weeks that I'm sure we both want to discuss. So for any of you that are brand new to the podcast, and this is the first episode you're listening to, as I always mention in every episode of What Did I Miss, this is our most casual, laid-back, free-form episode that we do. And there's very little editing, very little sound design, I don't know, any of that. It's very casual, and even though our friends are not here, we will still keep it that way. So make sure you stick around at the end of the episode, and we'll let you know where you can find all the rest of our content, as well as our social media pages. But Eric, I'll go ahead and go first, because again, the wheel we'll let the wheel rest for right now, and I'll bring in the wheel a little bit later. So how about I go first? And actually, this worked out perfectly because of because we discussed this movie earlier in the month in terms of the 28 Days Later franchise. And Eric, I don't know if you saw this. This literally came out today, this news. 28 Days Later star reveals first plot details and has a shocking update on the film's progress. The eagerly anticipated 28 Days Later sequel, 28 Years Later, has a major update from one of its stars. Speaking with IndieWire, Ralph Fiennes, who we talked about in the episode and being in this film, revealed that the film, which is one of 3 follow-ups to 28 Days Later, has already been shot as has the second in the trilogy. More than that, Fiennes revealed that 28 years later will center around a boy looking for a doctor to help his dying mother, nearly 3 decades after the initial plague from the first film. Quote, "It's 3 films, of which 2 have been shot. Britain is 28 years into this terrible plague of infected people who are violent, rabid humans with a few pockets of uninfected communities, and it centers on a young boy who wants to find a doctor to help his dying mother. He leads his mother through this beautiful northern English terrain, but of course around them, hiding in forests and hills and woods, are the infected. But he finds a doctor who is a man we might think is going to be weird and odd, but is actually a force of good." The latest update comes just a few months after producer Andrew McDonald had confirmed that the first film in the new set of films 28 years later was already shot, and that part 2 is about to begin production back in August. At that time, McDonald said he was hopeful that there would be a third part for the trilogy, and while Fiennes' comments don't shed any additional light on the progress for a third film, that the first 2 are complete certainly bodes well. That's crazy. 2 out of the 3 films are already done as far as shooting goes. And remember, we were talking about it literally a couple weeks ago. Like, man, I wonder when we know when the first one's coming out next year. I believe June 2025. And then, like, man, I wonder when we're going to get the other 2. Is a trilogy really necessary? But they've already shot 2 of them. So if they don't shoot a third one, that will suck. So, crazy news. Literally, they came out a couple hours ago, Eric, before us recording this episode. 2 out of 3, 28 years later, trilogy already done.
Yeah, and that's interesting because we just did an episode about that, right? So, like, again, the fact that it's coming right off the heels of those discussions, I think it's perfect for this episode. And Phil, you know, we were big fans of that film. I also, kind of reminiscing about 28 Weeks Later, I always remember the movie in a positive light, although many considered it to be a disappointment. Very unlike the original because it had a different director, a different type of theme it was playing to. I think the franchise as a whole has a lot of legs. So, like, seeing the trilogy news and the fact that they've already recorded 2 of these, I think is great because this is a movie they're going all in on, and I'd love to see that so they can really show us their full vision rather than give us a 28 years later, see how it does, and then be like, oh yeah, we will do a part 2 and a part 3 to really milk this out. So I like that they're going in with a vision, and I think, Phil, the movie franchise as a whole for 28 days and weeks and years later, it kind of really lends itself to being very grounded in filmmaking. So I think it's a really cool thing to see that they're able to kind of pump some of these out. As long as the story and the acting is top notch, I think they could pull this off.
Yeah, I only want it as long as it's filmed on an iPhone 3. So if it's filmed on anything nicer than that, I don't want it. So, yeah, but very exciting. Like you said, the fact that they've already committed to 2, and probably the third one will start production as well. Along with Ralph Fiennes, I believe some of the other characters that we talked about, some of the other actors that are going to be in this, Jodie Comer and Aaron Taylor Johnson, which you mentioned a couple of weeks ago, and as well as, I believe, the return of Cillian Murphy. So, super excited for that. Other film news here, Eric, I'm just going to bunch these together because one of these pieces of news is pretty exciting. The other one is probably just expected, that we all saw coming. Spider-Man 4 will officially hit movie theaters in the summer of 2026 with Destin Daniel Cretton directing. Sony Pictures has officially set a date for Spider-Man's next MCU outing, which will be July 24th, 2026. As expected, it will be helmed by Shang-Chi director Destin Daniel Cretton, who was reported to be taking the reins after the Russo brothers took over the next Avengers movie. The new Spider-Man 4 release date figures to make 2026 a huge summer for the MCU, putting it 2 months after Avengers Doomsday. It's reminiscent of Spider-Man Far From Home, which of course came out right after Endgame. It's also a busy time for Tom Holland, who is set to star in Christopher Nolan's next movie, which will also release in July of 2026. We don't really know a whole lot in terms of story. Tom has been doing a lot of media lately in terms of just talking about Spider-Man and being a real advocate for the character. I think that's what a lot of people are just so happy about. Also, being an amazing boyfriend to Zendaya the other day, getting her out of there with some amongst some paparazzi. So shout out to Tom, what a guy. But yeah, he's been doing a lot of media lately, and talking about that he's read the script and all this kind of stuff, and that he wants to do right by the character. So definitely great that we have such a great ambassador for Spider-Man. Honestly, 3 great ambassadors for Spider-Man. So, and then the next one, again, probably we all saw this coming, writing on the wall. Blade has been removed from Marvel's release calendar. Disney has removed the Marvel reboot of Blade, starring Mahershala Ali as the titular half-vampire, from its release calendar. Originally slated for November 2025, Disney will instead release Predator Badlands, the 6th film in the otherworldly franchise, on the early November release date that was held by Blade. Meanwhile, it does have 3 untitled projects scheduled for February 2028, May 2028, and November 2028. So, yeah, honestly, not much to say there. What is there to talk about Blade? Another part of the Eternals that just doesn't matter, right? They barely acknowledge that there's a giant celestial in the sea, and now we don't really acknowledge that Blade exists in this universe. And forever, because I don't think this movie's ever coming out. I don't know how you feel, Eric. The line of Wesley Snipes in Deadpool vs. Wolverine will ring immortal forever. There's only one Blade, only ever going to be one Blade, and that seems to be where we are heading.
Yeah, to me, I always thought it was weird that the after credit scene never showed him, right? It was very heavily alluded that he's there based off of his voice and the line that is used. And then again, we fast forward to Deadpool versus Wolverine. No news, no positive news about production for Blade. And Wesley Snipes' version of Blade, the OG, makes that comment. I mentioned it in my review of that film. It very much felt like a shot from Marvel to basically say, like, listen, if we're not going to make this movie, we'll just go back to the OG. We'll go back to Wesley Snipes. And I really think there's some validity to that kind of assumption or conspiracy. And that's my conspiracy. I very much think that was writing on the wall. I don't think this movie's ever going to see the light of day. I think we're just waiting at this point for everyone involved to say that they're out. And for me, I think that Spider-Man is a great move for Marvel to bring back sooner rather than later, because I think that there was always a wonder of, are they going to wait a long time from the third one? Are they going to bring it back sooner? From timeline perspective, it looks like this movie might come around Doomsday. So that's going to be very interesting with the news of Robert Downey Jr. How are they going to tie in Tom Holland around that time frame? What is going to be the state of mind of that character? Is he going to be involved? At the very least, Marvel's opening up some very interesting questions to what's going to happen in their movies, which hasn't always been the case as of late.
Yeah, I will say that is like one of the only intriguing things about the RDJ casting for Doctor Doom is, like, is there going to be some sort of acknowledgement from Tom Holland's Spider-Man, like in terms of how they look, or are they just going to totally ignore it? Like, they got to do something with that. So
I would love to see Tom Holland struggle through
fighting him,
Victor Von Doom, or whatever version of the Doctor Doom this is. Maybe it's just a Tony Stark variant, right? But I would be really interested to see how Peter handles still seeing him as a mentor. Like, I'd like to actually see it be effective, but from that villain perspective of Doctor Doom himself. So I think that'd be really interesting of how he's going to grapple with that. I feel like that's a story that needs to be told and resolved in Doomsday. So I think that just more sets up maybe the character state of mind for whatever Spider-Man 4 is. Because again, at that point, he is on his own still. We still kind of have to pick up where we left off from No Way Home. So very interesting how they're going to make the jump from No Way Home to Spider-Man 4 and make it make sense.
Yeah, and it does not bode well for the stop giving Spider-Man multiversal stories crowd, but unfortunately, that's what we are going to get. So yeah, I mean, some exciting news, and then some disappointing news, because the casting of Mahershala Ali, especially when we found out about it, like, he was definitely, and he's still great, but like at that time, he was definitely like trending upward, and still is. But that casting, I was like, oh, that is absolutely perfect. So it's unfortunate that like you said, we'll never probably see that movie, and or maybe even Blade. Like they'll throw Blade and like Daredevil down the lines or something like that. It'll be something strange. It won't be Mahershala Ali. But yeah, that is what it is. Honestly, if they did like a Midnight Suns project, that'd be a good time to bring him in. So, but R.I.P. to the Blade movie. But the very last one here, Eric, all my stories ended up being movie stories, so hopefully you have some non-film related stories. This
yeah,
was
I really wish we had the wheel here to assert some type of fair dominance on the movie stories here. I'm just like closing out tabs at the moment. Okay,
you told me in the pre-show, why don't you do a few and then I'll do a few.
Yeah, no, you know how I say things. You know how I say things like, I don't want to cause any problems, I don't want to seem difficult. Well, this is one of those times where I regret not being assertive. Yeah. My bad.
Too late. All right, a new American Psycho movie is in the works, but don't call it a remake. You should have known I was going to pick this one. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
What to tell you. Lionsgate is in final negotiations with Challengers director Luca Guadagnino. We'll go with that. To make a new version of American Psycho, the classic story featuring Patrick Bateman, who is a Wall Street investment banker by day and serial killer by night. In the official release, Lionsgate claims that the new film will not be a remake of the 2000 movie starring Christian Bale. Rather, it aims to be a new adaptation of the 1991 novel by Bret Easton Ellis, Scott Z. Burns, best known for writing the screenplay for The Bourne Ultimatum. I combined sentences. The novel by Bret Easton Ellis, and then Scott Z. Burns, best known for writing the screenplay for The Bourne Ultimatum, will script the film. Quote, "We are thrilled to add another elite filmmaker to our upcoming slate," said a Lionsgate chairman. Luca is a brilliant artist and the perfect visionary to create a whole new interpretation of this potent and classic IP. So, wrapping up my stories with a horror-related story. You know that I really enjoy this movie. It's not something I go around parading and telling people, because you don't want people to know that that you're a fan of Patrick Bateman. Not something I want to broadcast out there into the world. But we can all agree the first film is a classic. That character is obviously iconic. There is an American Psycho 2 with Mila Kunis. I don't know if you've ever seen it, Eric. I've only seen the kill count, and I know that I don't want to watch that movie. So hopefully it does not capture the spirit of American Psycho 2, because if they really want to do this, and again, this is the trend we're going to continue to see in Hollywood, is remakes, remasters, whatever it may want to be. Same thing in gaming. They better cast it right. I don't know if you have any ideas for who could play Patrick Bateman, but they better cast this movie correctly. That's going to be obviously just as important, if not more important, than the story, because good casting can carry even a subpar or mid-tier script.
Big shoes to follow for sure. I think it's going to be important, but hopefully they've made the right choice with the director, who, as a filmmaker, seems to be on a roll with his latest film, Challengers. Phil, I know you didn't get to see that yet, but I did. And while it wasn't necessarily my cup of tea, I did enjoy how the movie looked. And again, their cast was not necessarily a problem either. So there were a lot of elements working for that movie to gain the buzz that it had. It'd be cool to see this happen for American Psycho, but it is a story that people have seen, and people, even knowing this now, are still going to consider this to be a remake. Like, why do we need to have this? So if it can overcome that kind of immediate prejudgment, we'll see. But yeah, this is an interesting story. Me, Phil, I think I like to hear your perspective more as a fan of this series, because again, I have not fully seen American Psycho from start to finish. It's one of those movies that for some reason I haven't watched, and I just need to. Honestly, wouldn't be shocked if it's a late to the party at some point, just so I can get it out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those stories that's like, you feel, I mean, there is a version of it already that exists that is perfect. So for them to revisit this and also put a new face to it, it's going to be strange, and it has to be really, really good. And I'm going to throw out some names to you here, Eric, because The Guardian put out a article a couple days ago, as to who should play Patrick Bateman in the new American Psycho. So here's some names. First name, our guy, Glenn Powell.
Okay, well, hold on a second. Now, Glenn Powell with the card scene would be pretty good.
He basically played a Patrick Bateman character for a split second in Hitman.
Yeah, oh, he did. That's right.
Yeah, and it's excellent.
It is pretty good.
So there's that. Glenn Howerton, Always Sunny.
A lot of Glens here.
Yeah, I would love to see him in a more in that type of dramatic role. Aubrey Plaza, if they want to do a gender swap. I don't know about that one. Love her, but again, American Psycho 2 is so bad. Timothée Chalamet.
Yeah, I could see that.
Timothée Chalamet. And the last one, I think that one's a joke one. So yeah, those are some of the names that they have they've thrown out there in terms of. Oh, somebody also threw out Austin Butler.
I mean, Austin Butler will dedicate himself to the role.
That's true.
He'll definitely do a hell of a Christian Bale impression. So he's very good at impressions.
So
no,
but those are mine, Eric. Those are my 4 stories. It sounds like I went 4 for 4. So as far as taking some
listen,
of yours.
I mean, I had an idea for how I'd handle the didn't make the cut if I started having to close out tabs, and that's exactly what I closed out 4 tabs.
Here you go.
Every single one. The Spider-Man one kind of came in a different avenue, but I'll bring that up in a little bit. I've got a different taste for how my stories are going to go. So we're going to, fuck it. Again, balls to the wall action here. We're going to go ahead and just go to the world of baseball really quick, which I think is going to be interesting. Phil, you probably know this as the more of a baseball follower than I am, but Shohei Ohtani's historic 50-50 ball was recently sold for a record price of $4.39 million at an auction. And this is amid an ongoing lawsuit over ownership of the ball. I thought this was really interesting because first and foremost, this is the most expensive ball that's ever been sold, ever been put up for auction, which is crazy. Not just for a baseball, it's for any ball in any sport. That alone would be interesting. It was after a 3-week bidding process that took place. I think it's kind of funny and an interesting story because shortly after it was put up for an auction, a lawsuit was filed by an 18-year-old claiming that he is in fact the rightful owner of the ball and seeking a temporary injunction to prevent the concealing with or selling of it. And I think that's super interesting because this is one of those things where, like, when a ball is getting hit into the stands, you always see the clip where people are fighting to get it. Some asshole adult stealing it from a child, right? There's stuff like that always happens. But this is like almost a $4.5 million ball that we're talking about this ended up being. So I'm just curious if you had any thoughts. First of all, did you hear about this? Second of all, did you have any thoughts about this? Because I think it's a crazy story for something that on a typical game day would not be nearly as big a story.
Yeah, I did not hear about this, but it does not surprise me. So, like, there is a whole market. I mean, think about how there are just so many niches out there and fandoms that we are just not a part of, that we just do not understand. And this is part of that. So, look up any type of situation where there's been some sort of milestone reached, whether it be baseball, whether it be football. Like, I think it was, I can't remember which rookie quarterback it was, or like some rookie like threw their first touchdown into the, oh no, it was Tom Brady's like milestone touchdown pass. Gronk, I think, threw it into the stands or something crazy like that.
And they had to pay the person who got it. Yeah, I remember that.
This happens all the time. So somebody, like the team will go find that person and they'll be like, hey, what can we trade you for this? Like sometimes people get, they'll get like tickets. They'll get to meet the player. They'll get backstage passes, stuff like that. But this is different. Like, for those of you that don't know who Shohei Ohtani is, he is a major, major star. And not just baseball, but worldwide. He came over from Japan. He's a dual threat. He bats, he pitches. He is maybe the best baseball player we have seen ever. He's insane. And this is a big deal. So honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if like this kid probably, I don't know, is he saying he had the ball first? Is that part of this? Is that why he is suing?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
and like I haven't seen all of the video, but from what I can see, there's an argument to when the ball is like caught, if that is considered ownership versus when it's like ripped away, and who you know you always
Who
see
ends up
someone
with
hold it up, yeah. So apparently the holding up doesn't necessarily claim ownership of it. It's the fact that it's like a fumble, right? Just because a player comes out of the pile with the ball doesn't mean that that's who gained possession. So, yeah, it's just such an interesting thing. They did decide to there was some type of thing behind the scenes where they allowed the auction to take place amid the lawsuit. But my understanding is that there won't be any type of payout or anything until that's resolved. So, I mean, that's just, again, a lot of money being tied up. That's what I would do. That's a good question. Okay, so, and I will say, in this article, it doesn't mention this, but I did hear at least one other party is now also trying to jump in. So let's just say, Phil, around you is about 5 to 10 people that are now claiming to be ownership of this ball, to have ownership of this ball. Are you splitting $4 million 10 ways?
Not 10 ways. No, maybe
5 ways?
I think 3 is the most I would go.
Otherwise, you just
5
go
is a lot.
Yeah, no, I get
all
it.
or nothing. I don't know, man. I guess if it's 10 people and it's like $10 million, I mean, I'll take $1 million, but that I don't know. But yeah, I remember back in when I used to very heavily watch baseball when Barry Bonds was about to break the home run record in San Francisco. They have a very unique ballpark because the right or left field wall, it's very short, and behind it is like the water, and you always see kayakers out there. Well, when Barry Bonds was about to break that record, he was a left-handed batter. It's going to fly into right field or whatever, and he landed in the water, the Cubby Cove, that's what it's called. There were dozens of kayaks out there, people just hoping to get that ball because they know it was going to be a huge payday. So, and that was back in the early 2000s. So, like, I can't even imagine what that ball went for in terms of like what it would have gone for now in terms of like inflation and shit. So, yeah, what's something that you would want, whether it be sports, if you could, like, I don't know, catch a ball or have a piece of like a prop from a movie? I don't even know what that would be equal to in like television or movie. What would you want that and then resell it? I don't even know.
Resell it? No, I don't know. That's tough.
Yeah,
that is tough. I don't know because
I'm curious as to what the nerd version of that would be. I wonder what people would would think. You know how like people throw, like at concerts, they'll throw shit into the crowd. You know what I mean? Or like, I don't know what that would be in the terms of like nerddom.
I feel like it would have to be like an outfit or like a prop.
Yeah, like
it would have to be something.
An outfit would probably be
something you can like encase is what I'm probably like envisioning.
Yeah, like how the Joker encased, the Robin that he killed.
Wow,
something like that, right?
Wow, no, that was a very specific thing you pulled out there.
I was still thinking about American Psycho.
Well, hey, let's move on to the horror genre. But we can't leave the kids out of it, so we'll bring them into this too. This story is from the AV Club, and a lot of places are reporting this, but this one specifically is interesting because it seems like a lot of kids may have snuck into Terrifier 3 via the wild robot. So according to this article, and this was, I believe, initially from the Hollywood Reporter, according to distribution sources, the family-friendly DreamWorks animation picture, The Wild Robot, recently saw what was considered a noticeable bump in ticket sales over the long weekend. And the distributors are theorizing that this was a way for kids to buy those tickets in order to see Terrifier 3. It's important to note here, and this is interesting to me, probably the most interesting part to me, Phil. Terrifier 3 is kind of the wild, wild west right now in terms of unrated films. So if you did not know, this is not a rated R film. It is not NC-17. It is unrated. And apparently, because it's an independent film, it isn't required to be submitted for a rating. So unlike the major Hollywood studios, which are members of the Motion Picture Association, therefore required to submit all their films for ratings, this movie is just kind of being treated like a rated R movie in theaters, which is interesting, Phil, because I think that's how most people just assume this movie would be. I have seen Terrifier 3. This movie is beyond rated R. This movie is not rated R for sure. But again, this is interesting because unlike NC-17 film, and unlike God, say that 20 times fast. But unlike NC-17 films, which don't allow children into the theater at all, rated R movies obviously do allow kids into showings if they have a guardian. So Phil, super curious what your thoughts are about this, because sneaking into movies is not new, but I think this is extremely interesting.
I would never
What
do
is the
something
statute
like
of
that.
limitations on that?
Yeah, I would never think of doing something like that. No, I didn't even know that this was still, I don't want to say not still possible, but I'm sure it's more difficult because you now have to select your ticket ahead of time, like your seat. So you'd have to find, of course, an instance where, there are empty seats, and there's probably always going to be empty seats like right in the front. So maybe that's what they are doing. First off,
I'll tell you this really quick. Terrifier 3 is selling very well based off its budget, but
Yeah.
I saw the movie randomly at a 10 a.m. showing, and
Yeah.
I was the only one in theaters. So,
well.
that might be a weird example,
That's
but
American Psycho behavior, just so you
yeah,
know.
I understand. I can't explain it. Another topic for another day. But I will say, I don't know that Terrifier 3, based off of its box office, is selling out these theaters.
Sure.
So that may explain that.
Sure. Yeah, that is, first off, to go back to what I was saying, kids, go see The Wild Robot. I mean, the ticket sales do help The Wild Robot, but incredible film. But it doesn't surprise me that this is happening. Teenagers are always going to try and find their way into horror films, movies that they're not supposed to see, etc. But if it's unrated, does that the kids aren't allowed to buy it? Because if there's no rating on it, shouldn't they be able to buy? I've also always wondered how they police that in terms of just buying tickets online. You know what I mean? It's typically a teenager that is scanning your ticket. Like, are they going to be like, hey, you're clearly not old enough for this movie, we're going to turn you away? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so specifically, it's up to each theater on how they really handle it when it's unrated. Again, NC-17, children cannot see the movie. So there are no tickets. If they see a child in the theater, they're out. A rated R movie, they can, but they have to have a guardian. And then the sneaking in part comes in, just like, again, if there's a kid without a guardian, that's probably why they're trying to sneak in. So the thing is, because it's unrated, I mean, adults are choosing to let their kids watch this movie. That's your prerogative as a parent.
Can you pull up the Terrifier 3 Parents Guide for me, please?
Yeah, I can do that. So again, that's also where it's weird, Phil, because the understanding is that, like, yeah, you sneak into a movie, if you get caught, you get caught. But this is a movie that technically an adult can bring a child to. And again, this movie is wild. A very good movie, I may add.
It's got a clown. It's a kid's movie. It's a family. The opening scene is a family. It's for families.
You're never going to see it, so remind me to tell you maybe in the post show what happens, but really funny.
I have read what happens, but not in detail.
Yeah. So, yeah, I can give you one line from each of the IMDb Parents Guide really quick. Just,
Please.
we're killing time. Sex and nudity. This may also include spoilers for the film. So if you do not want to hear this, we'll probably be done in like 3 minutes. So skip ahead a little bit. Sex and nudity is moderate. A ghoul watches Art peel a man's face apart while pleasuring herself with a long, sharp piece of glass. No nudity is visible as she is clothed while doing so.
Interesting.
That was gross.
What are your likes? Ghouls.
Ghouls.
Little ghoulies.
Milk steak. Milk steak. Violence and gore is severe. Art pins a man to the ground, nails his hand down to it. He sticks a box cutter into his forehead and slices all the way up his skull. Once a long, deep incision around his skull is made, he peels his head open like a banana peel. Sticky flesh and blood squirts out.
It's just medical stuff, you know? That's how they do lobotomies, I think.
Profanity severe. Around 50 uses of the word fuck. 20 plus uses of shit. Alcohol, drugs, and smoking is mild. That one's
I love
really
the idea
easy.
of parents counting the fucks so they can go to the IMDb parent guide.
And add it.
Like, that's definitely, the way that there are Yelp reviewers, there are definitely IMDb parents, right? There have to be.
Man, listen, if AI can fix one thing, it's just to solve this issue. It's just to give us all this info instead of these parents. And then frightening and intense scenes is severe. Let me see. This is good. The violence of children is not directly shown on screen, but the aftermath is extremely gory and disturbing. For that note, Phil, I can concur. A lot of children die.
I heard.
Oh, absolutely crazy. But yeah, so that is an impromptu parents guide for Terrifier 3.
There you go.
Yeah, so my last story, transitioning from that, and this will be my last one because I think the rest of these really just fit well under didn't make the cut. Maybe some rapid fire we could go through. The last one is about Analog's 4K Nintendo 64 launching in 2025. Phil, I think this may have been posted about in our Discord, which I'll reference back in a minute. I'm really just curious what your thoughts are about hearing this, because apparently it was going to come out in 2024. And it is something that is going to launch, hopefully, Q1 of 2025. It's going to cost $250. And the very stripped down version of this is it's going to be a modern take on the N64. So you're going to be able to play games from the N64, but in a upgraded 4K-like upgrade to the actual game itself. There's a lot behind that I'm really not going to get into, but essentially it's apparently built like a 4K upscaler is what it reads here. This is on The Verge that I'm reading this article from. So I'm curious, Phil, what do you know about this? What have you heard? What are your thoughts around it? And how the hell are they allowed to do this? Like, this seems like if Powell can get sued from Nintendo, it feels like this is the next logical thing, no?
Yeah, because here's the thing, like, we're already emulating N64 games, and for less than $250, well, obviously you have to have the equipment for it, but, I mean, you can play essentially any N64 game you want already. And I didn't really look too much into this. Is it coming with an N64 controller? Like, how are they? Is this going to be?
It looks like it's going to have its own controller, from what I can see.
But it's not the N64 controller. It's just like a new controller.
Yeah, it doesn't look like the N64 controller from the image I see here. It can upscale games to 4K. It includes multiple display modes to mimic the look and feel of what the display should be. There's nothing specifically here around the controller, though, other than the fact that it supports Bluetooth, and it has 4 original controller ports, 2 USB ports, an SD card slot.
And a Bluetooth support means you can connect an Xbox controller, because that's what I do now with my PC. So I'm not really, again, not sure how this is how this is going to go. Honestly, it's their mistake for not releasing this before Christmas. If they really want to put a $250 price tag on it. Like, remember when those the re-releases of the tiny Super Nintendos and the NES and all that stuff released? I was working at GameStop at the time, and we could not keep those things in stock. So big missed opportunity if they're going to go forward with this for them not to release it before Christmas. But listen, the N64 is a iconic console and obviously has some great games, but outside of Pokemon Stadium, there's nothing on there I want to play. So it actually doesn't come with a controller, but But there is a company that's created an updated version of the gamepad that's being sold separately for $40, and you can also use any original N64 controllers. Okay, well, you'll hear us very briefly mention this on Wednesday's episode with Ryan. The N64 controller is one of the worst controllers ever made, so it is awful. It's right up there with the original Xbox controller, like the giant one. It's like right up there.
The big one? Yeah. Those nightmare fuel for gamers. Yeah. Those are my main 3 stories. Again, everything else is going to be pretty quick hitter ones. So yeah, big 3 stories, much different. So literally much different than yours, which was a nice little mixture here. And hope you guys enjoyed that. Hope you guys enjoyed that back and forth. Back in the going back to the good old days of What Did I Miss? But Phil, is there anything else you want to jump into before we quickly do maybe a rapid fire of some final stories, and then we go to our game, which you prepared? I was surprised to hear.
Yeah, that's why I had to scoot up so I can reach my computer a little bit easier. But no, I didn't really have any additional stories other than I guess I wanted to very briefly get your thoughts on. We played about an hour. We played about an hour of Black Ops 6 last night. What are your thoughts? The campaign, IGN gave it a 9. So I mean, listen, we all take IGN reviews with a grain of salt in 2024. But I'm gonna check it out. Remember, like some of the earlier Black Ops stories are very good, the campaigns. But as far as the multiplayer, what are your initial thoughts after about an hour and a half?
Yeah, and not to mention we played the beta as well for a little bit, maybe like one or 2 nights. So my initial experience has been pretty positive. I think the main story that everyone is hitting on at the same time is the movement changes and how unique some of that is. I think I'm leaning towards liking it. The game is very fluid. Again, like with every Call of Duty game, you have maps you like, you have maps you don't. So I think personally, there's been some nice quality of life improvements. It's just the model of the game as a whole, Phil, that I wonder at what point I'm going to be tired of it, between the different loadouts, the score streaks, the variance in game modes, the maps, all of that type of stuff. You know, I'm really curious when that's going to get old for me to not want to play this game at all. I'm not quite there yet. I'm still having fun with it, but it seems like each Call of Duty that comes out, I have fun with it for a lesser amount of time. Not that they're bad games, but I tend to put down the controller, and once it's down, I don't pick it back up unless one of you guys hit me up. And again, it is nice that there is this like substitute, I will call out this positive, of being able to download what you need for Call of Duty when typically it's like a 200 gigabyte installation. I do appreciate the flexibility where for me, I'm not going to play the campaign, and that's more from a time perspective with other games I want to play. I don't have to install it to be able to do anything else, and I do like that. Zombies, I am consider checking out because I've always been a big fan of that, but it's the same type of thing there. Like, how much is that going to move the needle for me from a gameplay perspective?
Yeah, and you're gonna have to play that with like Stefan or something, because I've never had the interest to jump into zombies. I don't know if Jordan does, so
it's crazy because I really think like you'd enjoy it. It's
See,
absolutely
the thing
crazy.
Is, when I tried to play zombies with you guys back in the Black Ops early days, there were so many rules of what I could and could not do, and I was like, this isn't fun. I'm not doing this with you guys. It was with all 3 of you, all 3 Cernas, and I was like, nope, I'm not playing this with them.
We also may have bullied you a little bit, so and then yelled at each other. So
yeah,
I don't know.
Imagine that not being fun. So strange. So, but yeah, I agree. It's also nice that it's on Game Pass, so we're not dropping $70 on a game that, once again, that we're probably not going to play for too long. I can keep it installed, on my PC because, like you said, it doesn't take up as much space as it typically does, especially if we did buy it on console. So that's very nice. But yeah, the movement, it's definitely a lot faster than Modern Warfare 3, last year's version of Modern Warfare 3. So we'll see what type of longevity it has, but there are definitely a couple maps that I think are pretty solid. The gunplay feels good, and they definitely cleaned up some of those concerns from the beta. So we'll see what happens going forward. But yeah, I mean, here we are again, annual Call of Duty release. Rinse, wash, repeat, and it is what it is. So I'm sitting here with over 60 hours in TCG Card Shop Simulator, and I'm over like 260 hours in College Football 25. So Call of Duty is just like a add-on at this point. But yeah, I didn't really have any didn't make the cut stories.
All right. Well, then I will throw a couple of stories at you kind of really quickly. and see if you have any thoughts about them. And I'll also kind of go down. Really, I only have 2 didn't make the cut stories, and the rest are going to just kind of come from Discord, which again is a great place if you don't want to wait till the end of the month. As a little plug, join our Discord. We have a lot of different channels to discuss topics in, and one of those topics is pop culture news. I think we also have, which has been a hit, good news. I spent all my money, so we get to share bad financial decisions together. But there's also a lot of information you can keep up with when we're going to stream on Twitch, things we're doing in the convention scene, etc. With that being said, let me do my 2 stories that I grabbed just in case as backups and that didn't make the cut. Phil, I'm just going to read you the title. I'm not going to really go much into it. Apple is making an Oregon Trail movie that will be an action comedy with Barbie-style musical numbers. What are your initial thoughts to that?
It's Apple, though? Like, Apple's producing it? Apple TV?
Yeah, Apple is producing it. The Hollywood Reporter reports that the film, which is currently in early development, will be an action comedy with a handful of musical numbers. Will Speck, Josh Gordon are reportedly attached to direct. And from what I can see here, yeah, Apple is going to be doing this.
Okay, I'll say this. Color me intrigued. We obviously love this guy. Keep Lin-Manuel Miranda away from this project, please.
What do you mean?
I don't want a hip-hop Oregon Trail. I'm over here dying of dysentery, and maybe I won't get to marry the love of my life, because I'm...
Did you like? What is your experience with Oregon Trail? 'Cause I have a positive one. I love it.
Oh yeah, I played it like in school all the time, but I never owned it myself. But that's why I think this could be funny. But I don't know about I think you can make it funny without it being a musical. So that's a little tricky.
Yeah, yeah. It says Barbie-style musical numbers. So
put Jonathan Groff in it, maybe.
Maybe
he's got great.
Maybe.
How do you stay so hydrated? I get wet. No.
Maybe
Say something
try that
else.
again. Say something else.
Say something else.
And then he just kept saying.
I get wet. No.
No.
Oh, what a great cast.
What a great cast. For my next story, Spider-Man 2 is officially being announced for the PC with a January release date, but for those of us that have already played it on PlayStation, we were hoping to hear more about the DLC content, and apparently there are no additional story content plans at this time. Phil, what are your initial thoughts on this?
Did you hear the rumor that this was because of their plans leaking? So they were like, nope, we're not doing it anymore?
No, but I mean I wouldn't be surprised if that was the case.
Yeah, I heard that there was going to be, spoilers for Spider-Man 2. There was going to be a Carnage DLC, and then 2 other characters from his Rogues Gallery that
Chameleon?
I'm not... Maybe. Yeah, Chameleon. And then there was one more that I can't remember what it was, but it's a bummer because the 3 DLCs for this first Spider-Man are excellent. So... the fact that who cares if it got leaked? And we knew it was coming, especially Carnage. So I guess we'll see how big of a game Spider-Man 3 is going to be when we play it on our PS7.
One day. As far as didn't make the cut, just going to move through our Discord page and just pick a couple of things, and then we will move to our game. Phil, a quote that you made earlier this year, Joker, Fully Ado, will be even better than the first film.
This isn't even didn't make the cut.
Will prove herself to be just as good as Harley as Margot Robbie. Huh?
What was yours? I'm going back. I'm going to the document.
Yeah, go back to October and see what it was. But, Phil, I was kind of curious, what exactly were you thinking earlier this year? We posted that Thursday Thought very early in the year.
The only movie that will make over $1 billion at the box office will be Deadpool 3 was yours. Wasn't there another movie that made over $1 billion?
Inside Out 2.
Inside Out 2, yeah.
To be fair,
that's not as bad as mine.
Yeah, no. And no one saw that coming. No one. We all thought it could make over $1 billion, but to actually pull it off was crazy.
Well, listen, my whole thought process was I trusted Todd Phillips. which apparently was the wrong decision because I didn't know he was gonna box out James Gunn like he was like trying to get a rebound. So that went into it. So I'll never trust Todd Phillips ever again, and we won't have to. So
probably a good choice. It's like he should have told you who he was with the Hangover series, but listen, that's okay. We talked about the Wild Robot. The Wild Robot is getting a sequel, which is great. Joker and the Wild Robot also available for digital release, pretty close to theatrical, which again is a topic we've talked about on the podcast often. Really wish movies wouldn't have to do that anymore. The Wild Robot, pretty successful. Not sure why it felt the need to do that, especially after that Terrifier 3 bump. But Joker makes sense. That movie is going to lose a lot. In fact, Breyer was critiquing it from a Morbius box office standpoint. That's how bad it has gotten. There's a ranking system there. As far as any other stories that are here, obviously, we talked about Marvel's Blade. The Severance Season 2 teaser dropped, Phil. From that little snippet, what are your initial thoughts? We did a Late to the Party episode, and I'm now the biggest Severance fan, so I want to hear your thoughts.
Man, there's like so many questions because we have no idea what's going on, but when he, at the very end of that trailer, when Milchek walks in and he's like, "Welcome back, Mark," and it's three new people, I'm like, who the fuck are these people? Oh man, I think there is also a part in there where he's yelling at Bert, where I'm like, oh my gosh, there's just so much. It's so far away, but at least we have Shrinking to watch right now. For those of you that are Apple TV fans, Shrinking just returned, and I'm enjoying Agatha all along. I'll fit that in here too as far as streaming. So I very much enjoy that. Eric, that's not going to be your cup of tea, but I'm very much enjoying Agatha all along in terms of just a kind of one-off. I don't know how it's going to tie in. I don't really care. All I know is in terms of what's going on right now, I'm enjoying it. So, but the trailer was awesome, and cannot wait for that to come back and win a whole bunch of more awards.
Yeah, that's what it's all about. But that's my didn't make the cut, Phil. So we can again jump into your game, and yeah, I think we're on pace for a nicely timed episode. So this is great.
Yeah, and it's just one. And we'll be here really quick.
Are you?
Oh, sorry.
There's no shot that you did that on accident. There's no shot.
That was the wrong tab. All right, Eric. So what I stole from social media, we're going to draft a Disney zombie apocalypse. And, well, I say draft, but here's what we're going to do. So
are you going to full screen that for me?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So here's what we're going to do. So there are 64 Disney Pixar characters here.
Jesus Christ.
We're going to spin. You will get one. We both will get one skip. So we are going to be drafting. I'll say drafting, but the wheel is going to decide our fate. A captain, a vice captain, a tank character, healer, and then 3 support characters.
Oh, okay. So we can place them. Got it. I know how to do this.
You place them anywhere. Yeah, I'm sure you've seen this.
Yep. You stole this from TikTok. This is great.
I got it from Straw Hat Goofy. Shout out to the man.
Shout out to the man.
Okay, cool. Do you want me to make this bigger, or is this okay?
No, that's fine. I just thought. Well, I guess you're gonna have to do edits in Canva.
I
right?
am. Yeah, I'm gonna be clicking back and forth. So
you might want to zoom in a little bit in Canva for like a audience experience.
In Canva,
but the wheel, I think the wheel
which
is
I can
fine.
do like
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, that'll work out.
And you can put these anywhere, and you remember you get one skip. Look at you like the little default kick. I love how these are all. Some of these are mostly cute, and then there's this ring character.
Yeah.
I just typed in Halloween, and these are what came up.
These are what came up. The cat.
And then I will put in the pictures, of course, as we go. So, Eric, I'll let you go first. So, let's see what the wheel has for you in terms of...
We only get one skip.
One skip, yeah. The rest of the characters
crazy.
you will have to use. I don't know what characters really are in this. I asked ChatGPT to give me 64 Disney and Disney Pixar characters and mixed in villains and heroes. So...
All
Here
right.
I already see a couple that I'm like, who the fuck is that? Here we go. Let me turn on. Oh, yeah, that's right. There's no sound because it's a different browser. All right, Eric, let's see who your first character will be.
Oh, my goodness. This is like anxiety-inducing.
Oh, come on.
All right.
This is
Jafar. Like that.
All right, Eric, where do you want to put Jafar in terms of here. So we have your captain, vice captain, tank, healer, and then 3 support characters. And remember, this is a zombie apocalypse, so
Yeah.
you want to keep Jafar. I assume yes, right?
No, yeah, I want to keep Jafar. He's going to be pretty mad. I can't really trust him as a vice captain because he's going to want to be captain. Support is interesting, but I think specifically because of the magic and everything he can do with the staff. Does that have healing properties? Now I don't know. Oh, that's tough. Because I don't know the full backstory of Jafar's magic, I'm just going to go support here.
Okay.
But I think it's a great support pick for the magic
start.
alone.
Yep, yeah. Definitely a good start.
It's
okay, it's
good.
not snapping in.
You're gonna have to get rid of the image that's in there and then do it.
It usually replaces it for me. Oh, it didn't do it.
Oh, well then that's a whole different
you know what?
thing.
I bet I know why. Probably because it's coming from a different browser. Okay.
Maybe.
Well, again, what did I miss?
What did I miss?
Jafar.
You didn't resize those, right? That you picked like something that you can embed the image in, right?
Yeah, I just dragged them over. Okay.
No, Phil, what I'm saying is those pictures, those images that you picked.
Yeah.
Did you just copy and paste them and resize them like you cropped them?
No. They were like
empty?
Yeah.
Yeah, so when you backspace the support one there, it should show that empty. No, don't delete it. Backspace it. Click in the image and click backspace. I'm so sorry, guys. Yeah, Phil, there's no embedded. There's no embedded
I don't know
thing
why
there.
that's not there anymore.
Yeah. I would just go with the name because we've already spent too much time on this particular part. I would just go with the name. Phil, Phil, stop.
Let's see.
Phil, figuring this out right now, maybe not the play. Maybe not the play. No, Phil, don't stop deleting them.
Okay, well, Jafar is
support. I think we'll just go with name. We're doing the best. We're doing the best we can do. Yeah.
All right, my turn. Let's see who we get here. It's gonna give me something stupid. I haven't. Okay. Wow. Okay, 2 Aladdin characters back to back.
Back to back. Much rather Jasmine than Ariel.
Yeah, for sure. Because never mind. I'm not gonna say anything controversial. Okay. Jasmine, I feel like. Definitely not tanker healer. Maybe. Oh, this is mine down here. So I'm gonna hold out. I think Jasmine would be like a good support character, keep people in good spirits. She has shown the ability to kind of hold her own, but I don't want to put. I can't take up captain or vice captain right now. That might come back and bite me in the ass because I also consider her for vice captain. But yeah, I'm gonna put
bad
her
choice.
For
extremely sexist.
Okay, that's there. I can pick a female captain and vice captain.
You're not gonna have the chance. I'm telling you, you're gonna regret that.
Listen, I just don't. I don't think that she would be. I don't want her as my captain or vice captain.
Okay.
All right, here we go. Your turn.
All right, let's go for it. I'm nervous.
Well, Jafar's gonna overthrow your team immediately. So.
Well, I put him so far back.
It'd be so funny if you got a frozen character. Okay, Taka from Moana.
Oh. Hold on now.
Which is, well, if you guys don't know who Taka is, that is the giant monster.
Yeah, that's got to be Tank, right? Like, there's no other choice here.
What if you get the soft version from the?
Which version do I get?
I'm the cool version.
Okay, well, because I was gonna say if it's the flower one, I would think she's a good healer.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
True.
No. So I'll take fire Taka, and I'll take I'll do Taka's tank.
Cool. That works. All right.
You really had to copy paste Taka, huh?
I wanted to make sure that the line was over it. I don't know how to do that.
Okay, I just don't think that. Anyway.
No, it's fine. It would have bothered me.
Okay.
All right, here we go. My turn. All right, let's see what we got. Here's my second pick.
Oh.
Okay. All right. Minnie.
Another female.
Minnie's a vice captain. I'm gonna go Minnie vice captain. I think Minnie.
Awful.
How is that awful?
Awful. Over Jasmine.
Minnie is more iconic than Jasmine. She's like.
It's not about being iconic. Is she a leader?
Yes.
When shit's going to, it's a zombie apocalypse.
Yeah.
Philip.
And I want someone like Minnie Mouse has been ride or die for Mickey since the get. So like I need her to support my captain and also
trustworthy
reinforce.
wise, that's a good pick. Yeah, I don't know more than Jasmine, but yeah, no, I got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, she'd
All
probably
right.
be envious if it's if someone else was captain. Yeah, okay.
Watch me get Daisy. I'll make Daisy president or captain. Okay.
All right, what we got?
All right. Here's your Eric's next pick. Eric is going to get. Come on. Oh.
No, man. Mater? Are we fucking for real? I couldn't even get Lightning McQueen.
Okay. All right. Let's make Mater Eric's captain.
Stop. Hold on. Stop. Give me a second. Here's what I'm going to tell you.
Skip.
I'm going to think about it here because, like, I don't think he's not really going to be supportive in any way. But, like, he could be a good vice captain. Oh, I guess I could ride him.
Startling sentence there.
I'm going to go Mater support because I think there's going to be a worse skip later on. I'm trying to save that. So, yeah, Mater for support for sure.
Okay. All right. Cars makes an appearance. Maybe Boogie will listen to this episode. All right. Next one here from me. Oh, my. Okay. Keep going. Okay. All right.
That's a crazy pull.
All right. I think I got to go Woody Captain.
Yeah, there's no other.
Woody. Tank.
Don't fuck this up.
Yep. Okay. There we go.
No,
I held out. I held out for my captain. There we go, Woody. Howdy.
Howdy. That's a hell of a pull. Man, all right, well, we need to get something good here. I am scared.
Oh.
What do we got? Oh, no, go one more. No, we're good. I got Jiminy.
Are we?
I got Jiminy. Oh, over Pinocchio's bitch ass? Yeah.
That's true. Pinocchio's sweet.
Give me Jiminy as Vice.
Okay.
Yeah, give me Jiminy as Vice, dude. Oh yeah, he'll on the shoulder of the captain. Yeah, I'll take Jiminy Cricket as a vice captain here.
Okay. I see the
vision.
The vision. All right.
Although he could have been emotional support.
Yeah, but then what happens when Jafar breaks his leg? God damn it.
That's a bad pull.
Dumbo was right there.
It was right there, dude. Support?
As my tank character.
No, as a support, dude. You can fly him.
Does Dumbo heal?
No,
support. You mean support? I got support and healer
him.
mixed up. Do I use my skip here?
There's a serious consideration for it. Bambi's a bad pull here. After Woody?
Bambi couldn't even save his mom. He's also a child.
Also a child. Also just a deer.
You have a talking cricket as your vice president.
Yeah, but he could at least kind of talk us through a situation and tell us what's right from wrong. I
gotta skip Bambi. I gotta skip. I have to. What the fuck is Bambi? Your mother's birthday. What the fuck would I remember your mother's birthday? Okay. All right, yeah, I gotta skip Bambi. All right, we've got to get really lucky here the rest of the way because I used that way earlier than I wanted to. Let's go!
Crazy. It's taking out the ones that it gets to.
Yeah.
Oh man.
I do it manually.
Yeah, that
All right, we will do lightning as support. Oh, what the fuck? What? Oh, it's copy that up there. I was like, what? I won.
All right, so we both have car support. So I mean, we're looking pretty close.
Didn't see that coming. Okay. All right.
I think I'm gonna have to nail my captain at this point. I'm gonna have to nail my. I mean, we're doing good.
Yeah, I need a good tank.
For sure.
You got a good tank. So
Man,
okay.
how are we going to handle healer, dude?
Eric still has his skip. Didn't use it on Mater. Let's see how that goes. I see Hercules on there. Oh! This is interesting.
Oh, yeah. No, captain.
That's a good captain.
100%
That's
captain.
a good captain.
Against Woody?
You have two tiny leaders, but
Oh, no,
you have
Jiminy.
Taka.
And Jiminy could kind of keep him level set, like, try to manage the good and the bad. Like,
The noble phoenix. I'm gonna faint.
that's exactly.
This is terrible. You're terrible. Okay, I gotta watch Puss in Boots.
Puss in Boots, the last wish, guys. Oh, that is such a good comp. Oh, I'm literally crying. Oh, this was so much fun. This is such a good idea. Holy
All right.
shit.
All right, Lotso's a good pull. My turn. I need to tank. I think I saw Moana on here. I mean, Maui.
Now I'd be crazy.
Oh my god!
Man,
Okay.
unfortunate.
Okay. We'll see. Mickey is a progressive guy, so he'll be okay with man, he would have been a great president.
Would have been a great captain.
Okay, a great captain, yeah.
But I mean, getting Woody and Mickey's a bad pull just in general, because then the same thing would have happened to Woody. So,
Yeah, but we've seen Woody step aside for Buzz. Am I getting Kingdom Hearts Mickey? I can make him a healer.
I think you're not.
Yeah, I gotta put Mickey as a support, which he'll be fine with. All right, okay, tank and healer. That's gonna be really interesting for me. All right, Eric, let's see what you got.
Just think about it. You could still have Bambi.
That's true. You gotta be you gotta be shitting me.
Yeah, no. Let's fill that final support slot. That's crazy.
Fucking bullshit.
Would have been a great leader if I had waited.
Or a good
But
tank.
I already have a good tank.
Yeah, but again, if someone just puts the Heart of Tafiti in your in your tank, you're just gonna return to the sea or whatever she does. Okay. I have tank and I have healer.
Yep.
I have some really great options for both of these here, and some really, really bad ones.
And no skips.
And no skips left.
All right, let's see.
All right, here we go.
This is nerve-wracking.
Am I really? Am I gonna get the whole Mickey Mouse Clubhouse? Okay, we're gonna do Donald as a healer. I think Donald could do that.
That's mine. That's my spot.
What?
That's my spot. I don't want Donald.
This really.
Yeah, this is tough.
Okay.
I have to have a really bad healer for this to not be a blowout in my mind.
It's not good. All right, Eric's next spin.
All right, let's see.
Yes! Come on! Stop! Let's go.
Is that Aladdin? Oh,
It's Ariel.
skip. Yeah, I'm gonna use my skip here.
All right, Ariel.
Not the worst healer option I could have, but
Is it though? I mean, what
yeah, I
she
don't know.
can't
Man,
even.
so close to Ursula.
I know.
Oh.
Okay. Is that the villain?
Yeah, that's. I mean,
Okay.
he's got a lot of dogs. I don't know what that does. I'll just take him
Don't
as
know.
a healer.
Don't know what that means. He's
Yeah,
he's your healer. So
Yeah. There's not much I can really do here,
you better hope
You have
no one
to-
gets hurt.
You have to knock
All right.
Tank out of the park, because if you could do
All
that,
right.
this is the conversation.
Yes, there is. I'm looking at some of these options. There are definitely some really good tank options. Okay. There's also... Alright, I'm not even going to speak that into existence. Okay, here we go. This is my last one. This is my tank character. Oh my god, yes! No, okay. All right, I wanted Shan Yu, but we'll take Mulan.
Mulan's not a great... No.
Shan
Yu was the pick.
I wanted Shan Yu. As a tank character, Mulan isn't great, but I thought about adding like weapons specialist or something like that, but...
So go full screen with our zombie apocalypse. Let's talk through this really quick. Let's talk through mine and then yours, and then let's you probably just go full screen, right? Over in the yeah.
Okay.
That's not very full screen, but that's fine.
Yeah, it's as good as it gets.
It might be worse. It might be worse.
I can zoom in.
Okay, that works.
That's a bad idea. Okay, here's Eric's. So Eric as his leader, or vice, what was it? Vice leader? Vice leader?
Yeah, captain and vice captain.
I kept thinking.
Captain.
Okay. Lotso, Hug and Bear from Toy Story 3.
Leader of a daycare.
Leader of a daycare, yeah. How did that turn out for him?
Almost killed all of the original cast of Toy Story.
That is true. Again, inanimate objects, so... How impressive is it really? Jiminy Cricket offers you absolutely nothing other than sitting on the shoulder of Lotso. So, in terms of battle prowess, he can't get out there. And if somebody breaks into your headquarters, Jiminy Cricket is getting stepped on immediately. Maybe by Taka on accident, who is Eric's tank.
That's probably my best pick.
It is, yeah. Definitely your strongest. Charles Muntz, the villain from Up. Who
as a healer, I think he makes a stellar soup.
I think
like a stew. He seems like a stew kind of guy. Like if I'm not feeling well, a stew to pick me right up, like a chicken noodle soup maybe.
I don't think so. It didn't seem like
he also takes care of animals.
Did he though? Because they all had like shock collars on them and they were all abused and sad. So I don't know about that.
Yeah. I see what you're saying.
Jafar, Mater, and Mr. Incredible as support. Now, remember, Mr. Incredible was okay with taking a back seat as Elastigirl, took the reins, I think, in the terrible Incredibles 2. They're both terrible, for being honest. I just feel like Jafar is going to lead some... Well, he might agree with Lotso's tactics, so maybe you actually got lucky there. Mater...
Listen, he might not shut the fuck up, but he's going to drive us from point A to point B.
Ariel can talk to fish. Does that help in a zombie apocalypse?
It doesn't.
Okay.
It doesn't. And is this a version of Ariel that can't talk?
Yeah. Either way,
she can't talk for most of that movie.
Both versions pretty useless anyway.
I think Mr. Incredible's a great support, though.
I do too. I think you could have actually swapped either one of these. Taka and Mr. Incredible. You actually probably should have made... Well, Mr. Incredible actually would have been the better tank because he has the ability to speak. So, that would have been the way to go.
I'll say I still, even with the discussion here, I think this is a really solid lineup. I think zombie apocalypse-wise, we're in a good spot. And if you kind of think about it... Lotso, zombies aren't going to be interested in eating him. Jiminy, safe. Taka, safe. Mater, safe. So like half my characters safe from what zombies typically eat.
Do zombies eat animal live animal characters? Minnie, Donald.
Oh, you might have the better pull here.
Mickey. So Woody as a leader. Obviously, I would have liked to have Mickey as the leader, but I think Woody once again made it out of that near-death experience by Lotso. Lotso, I think, ended up being like adopted at the end of the movie or something like that. Minnie Mouse,
a little bit of hope that Jiminy can pull out.
Minnie Mouse, solid vice captain. Again, has been a great support to Mickey all these years, and this will be an opportunity for her to outrank him and really
Phil,
shine.
Are you concerned about the romantic relationship that will be taking place between Minnie and Mickey? I mean, that usually leads to bad things in the zombie apocalypse.
It does, but I've never seen them. Do they have any children? I think they'll be they'll be okay. That's
it's
Donald
never
that
too
has
late.
all the kids. That Donald has that has too many children. and then
Yeah.
Goofy has the one really cool one. So I think we'll be good there. Mulan, again, in terms of physical prowess, not the greatest tank option. But honestly, looking at these other ones, like, none of these would have been better than Mulan as tank for me. Like, Lightning.
Yeah, and is there possibly a worse pull than Charles Muntz than Donald Duck? Like, I'm not sure.
Okay, listen, Donald Duck, again, if he hones into his Kingdom Hearts
I just don't think you can do that. I don't think we can pull that out.
I think that's not Disney, technically. So, and then Jasmine, Lightning, and Mickey as my support characters. Mickey, very strong. Lightning, obviously very fast. I think only can hold 2 people in the car, but that will definitely help. And then Jasmine, who has also shown her ability against Jafar, and I think, again, will be do a good job at keeping everybody in good spirits, and also, again, not totally useless on the battlefield, and not an idiot either, like Mater. So I think that's where
Listen, I understand
feel
you got
about
the
that.
better cars pull. I do agree. You're not gonna get an
you
argument.
didn't even mention Mater when we were talking about
I tried to skip over it. That's 100% the weakest part of my team, and I have Charles Muntz as a healer. So just for God's
We
sake.
really didn't. Let's go back to here and see if there were any really good healers. I
Yeah.
think I did see 1 or 2 that would have made sense.
Can
I
you
think
zoom
it
in
was
on the wheel a little bit?
Let me. I can. There we go.
Yep.
Is that any better?
Uh-oh. Okay, there we go.
Is that good?
Yep.
Okay. I think Rapunzel would have been a good healer, obviously, with her hair. Right? That heals, doesn't it? Am I making that up?
Yeah, assuming we have hair Rapunzel, which I guess we would, right?
Yeah. They come with all their abilities. Beast, obviously, would have been a good tank. Gaston, I think, would have been a good tank. Shan Yu, obviously, was the one. Tiana... Does Tiana have... She doesn't have healing abilities right now. She was...
No,
she
but
didn't have,
also makes a
powers.
great gumbo.
But there's a lot of really good things. Hans would have probably been the worst pull out of all of this.
For literally anything.
Yeah, nothing. Elsa would have been great. I think you could have made her a tank, actually. Cruella probably would have been pretty useless. Hades or Hercules. Hercules is obviously very strong. Meg would... I don't know about Meg. Let's see.
I'd love her to support
isn't
me.
C and the 2 Siamese cats from Lady in the Tramp?
I think so.
That's probably the worst one on here. I was like, man, I hope that one. Yeah, Lady is on here. Again, just a dog. Wally, maybe, I think would have been a really good support character.
Character for sure.
Sully as a tank would have been solid. Was this Syndrome? I don't know if I'd want Syndrome on my team. Ernesto de la Cruz and Miguel on here. Remy would have been maybe healer because of his cooking ability.
Maybe, yeah.
Goofy, I'm surprised I didn't get Goofy. I got all the rest of the Mickey Mouse books.
It was looking that way for a little bit.
Yeah. Maleficent, I think, would have been also a good tank, maybe. And then we have Judy and Nick Wilde, who also probably would have been pretty useless. But there's some solid ones on here. Evil Queen, Ursula, Dr. Facilier, I think, would have been a great healer. Alice, Queen of Hearts, Dumbo, almost got Dumbo. Merida would have been a great support character. Yeah, so there's some solid ones on here. So this is I have been toying around with the idea of doing more stuff like this for when we have Jordan and Philin on for What I Miss for November and December. So I'm glad we were able to do this test run and then do different things, like instead of Disney characters. I was thinking about maybe doing one that's just like a whole pot of fictional characters down the road. So
Yeah,
this
I'll
was a lot of
send
fun.
you. I'll send you a couple of the games I've seen that are very similar to this. I think we'd have a lot of fun. Very, very much guess the character, but you'll see like the characters just like guess the theme of what's going on. So like there'll be like 5 characters on the screen, and you'll have to figure out guess which one doesn't belong. And there'll be like a theme, like all of these are animals except one person, and then they get harder as they go on.
Okay.
I don't remember the name of the content creators that do that, but they do a bunch of games on TikTok, and I've wanted to steal them for a while, so let's do that.
Yeah. So, yeah, for putting it together literally in like 30 minutes, went pretty well. Shout out to ChatGPT. So,
It's great.
Because I was like,
Great
man, how am I
job.
going to type out 64 names? I was like, oh, never mind. I can use AI for one of the reasons we should be using AI and the ways that AI does make our lives easier, not some of the other ways you guys are using them. So, but yeah, guys, that is our, again, we set a bridge, but it ended up being about roughly an hour and a half, which was great because we were able to put together this episode. And again, we will have guests on for the latter part of the year, and as we kind of wind down and go from there. But Eric, anything else you want to mention to our audience before we wrap up? This episode will actually come out before the final episode of the month, which is coming out on Wednesday. This episode will be out on the 28th, so Monday morning you guys will have it. But yeah, anything else you want to mention before we get out of here? We're turning the page into November, and we have a lot of really cool stuff planned. We do have a week off because of the holiday, but other than that, like, we have a lot of fun episodes, and we're getting closer and closer to December, which is going to be jam-packed as well.
Yeah, 100%. And we're getting close to end of the year awards, which is something we've done every year since about 2019 or so. So very, very cool stuff when we really started the podcast in its current form, which is really awesome. So I would just recommend looking forward to that. Anything that you want to contribute, again, Phil's going to go over where you can reach out to us, hit us up. But for the series that you're listening to, this will be returning in November and December. A series that we will be taking a break from until the new year is Creator Spotlight, which Phil alluded to. We have Ryan from GAM and several other local organizations here in Jacksonville putting on free events for people that like this type of content. Your nerds, your gamers, your enthusiasts, all of that. So just really want to give that a shout out. Check it out this Wednesday when this episode releases, and give it a shot. Check out what it's all about, and there'll be a holiday nerd market we'll be helping out with promoting. So make sure if you're in Jacksonville to support that local event. But Phil, I am ready to wrap this up if you are. A healthy hour and a half episode. A lot of stuff to cover, and yeah, this was fun. Again, gave us a chance to see what this looks like as a two-man booth if we need it, and I think it was pretty successful if we need it.
No, never again. Guys, if you want to find all the rest of our content, we do just the two of us 4 times a month. We don't need to add another.
I said
folks,
if needed.
No. Folks, make sure you click the Linktree link in the show notes of this episode. You'll find everything you need, including a link to all of our social media pages. The ones to keep, the most important ones being Instagram, TikTok, the Discord page that we talked very heavily about here in this episode, as well as YouTube. We also stream on Twitch every other week. You can also find us, find the episodes literally anywhere you listen to your podcast. And while you are there, you should go ahead and give us a 5-star review wherever you can. That is so very, very helpful when it comes to the lifeblood of a podcast and keeping us relevant and keeping us in the charts and letting other people know that we are a go-to for all of your pop culture needs. You can also... no, I think that's it. If you want to... I was like, did I forget something?
Oh, no.
It's at the end of the episode. We're winding down. We're ready to go. If you find yourself wanting to support the show a little bit more, maybe you're in a giving mood. Maybe the holiday spirit has hit you just a tad bit early and you'd like some extra perks when it comes to the Wait For It podcast. Eric will let you know a little bit more about that.
So, all the free stuff is great and very much appreciated, but if you'd like to turn a little bit more into the, tune into more of the Wait For It podcast, you're able to go ahead and check out what we've got going on in Patreon. Thanks to patrons like T3 Cato, Stefan Breyer, and Corey. They are supporting us on that platform, and you can as well in exchange for early access and behind-the-scenes exclusives to episodes like this one. So make sure to definitely consider giving us a follow or subscription on that platform. If you can't do that, totally understandable. Discord, social media, any other platforms that Phil talked about that you'll see in our link tree in the show notes, check that out. The likes, the comments, the shares, the engagements, the listens, all of that stuff adds up, and we truly feel that on our end as well from an engagement standpoint. So truly appreciate if you're doing that, and if you just press played and you just go on about your day, that's cool too. My name is Mr. Eric Almighty. That is my co-host, Phil the Filipino. Please don't forget we release new episodes on the podcast every Wednesday, plus bonus content on platforms like TikTok and Twitch. And all you got to do is wait for it.
So, I heard you're looking for a go-to source for entertainment.
Wait for it.
Gaming?
Wait for it.
Anime?
Plus Ultra!
Mr. Eric Almighty and Phil the Filipino? Yeah, they've got you covered. And all you gotta do is wait for it. This is the Wait For It podcast.